This weekend marks 5 years since the death of George Floyd at the hands of Minneapolis police officers. Former police officer Derek Chauvin is serving a federal sentence of more than 20 years in prison for depriving Floyd of his constitutional rights. Chauvin was also found guilty on state murder charges. Now, we're not showing you that painful video, but you may remember Chauvin was kneeling on Floyd's neck for nearly 9 minutes with Floyd pleading, "I can't breathe." It sparked outrage and investigations into the police department that uncovered evidence of excessive force and discrimination, prompting systemic changes. The Minneapolis mayor at the time was Jacob Frey. He spoke to CBS News about what's changed in the last 5 years.
I can tell you that we're making progress. Are we there yet? The answer is no. We all have a lot of work to do, but the progress that we are making is real. Our police department is more diverse than it's ever been before. We're bringing recruits on that want to be the change right now.
CBS News Minnesota reporter Reg Chapman joins us now. You were, of course, in Minneapolis during Floyd's killing. You reported on the legal fallout. Reg, what do you remember from that weekend 5 years ago? And I think one of the changes the police department made was hiring people living closer to the city. Have things changed as you might have expected?
Well, not quite changed. We talk about that, but history was made when people from all walks of life did come together to fight for racial justice and police reform, and it all sparked right here in Minneapolis. 5 years later, there is mixed reaction on how far we have come. Some say they do see incremental change when it comes to police and community relations, especially with the Black community. Others say not much has changed, while there is a small percentage of people who believe things are worse because of what they see as racial division and diversity, inclusion and equity rollbacks in both business and government.
And Reg, I know that you spoke to the former police chief of the Minneapolis Police Department about at least the efforts that have been made, that they continue to try and make to implement reforms. I just want to play a portion of that for our viewers.
They laid out an absolute groundbreaking, innovative memorandum of agreement with the Minneapolis Police Department that really touches on a lot of the key points that, quite frankly, a federal consent decree would have enacted anyway. Use of force, de-escalation, education, cultural competency, recruitment, rehiring.
So what do you make of that? Because on one level, it's just paperwork, and you also have the end of federal oversight of the Minneapolis Police Department. Culturally, have you not seen or felt a difference considering all the effort that's being made?
Well, we are seeing a more diverse police department here in Minneapolis, and we are seeing people from the community actually serving and protecting. Well, Mayor Jacob Frey does say the city will follow this federal consent decree to the letter, and many of the recommendations for reforms are already in play, and the city has money stockpiled to make sure there are funds for these reforms, from hiring of those qualified officers with character and for paying for their training to make sure they understand. There is already that memorandum of agreement the former chief talked about. The city, the police department, and this community group, Unity and Community Mediation Team, implemented more than 2 decades ago. And it does deal with many of the same issues the federal consent decree covered. There is a big push right now to dust off that document and work with community to make sure everyone has a stake in making the police department and the city better for all.
Yeah, I know you had said in some cases it may have been worse. You know, there are these calls now to pardon Chauvin on the federal charges. Tell us about that.
Well, as for now, those calls to pardon Derek Chauvin are just rumors. It's just talk. There have been high-level talks with the governor and local, county, and state law enforcement officials preparing for any reaction in case there is an actual pardon. But we are being told that if there is a federal pardon, Chauvin will not be released from prison, but serve out the rest of his state sentence of 22 years here in Minnesota.
Okay, Reg Chapman, we appreciate you joining us, and we want to let our viewers know that you can watch more of Reg's reporting on CBS News Minnesota. You can also watch more of Mayor Frey's interview here on CBS News 24/7 in the 2 p.m. hour. Reg, thanks so much. Great to connect with you.